Radfay 48, Episode 25, March and April of 1999. Hello, social media mites and mavens. James Homan here. I had been encouraged to have a family leave discussion with my employer about this time. My company offered me as many as 12 weeks of work for full compensation while I attended to either my own health or the health care of a family member. My position was to remain intact, and I would resume that position when it became necessary to return. Ironically, my wonderful boss had been offered another position, leaving her replacement to assume all responsibilities. That replacement arrived with her own executive assistant, and in July, I found I had no job to return to. As an executive assistant to the chairman of North America for Ogilvy One Worldwide, I'd become aware of the administrative directive, which had come from above, that this social media tangent of Ogilvy advertising was considered a, quote, young people's game, unquote. What I had come to learn prior to Harold's illness was that the advertising firm had begun terminating employees who were older than 50 years of age. I turned 51 the end of this April. Whether this had anything to do with the elimination of my employment, only the Human Resources Department could confirm. I was asked to sign a non-release agreement in July, but refused to do that, thereby forfeiting any financial encouragement Ogilvy offered. This became simply another irony to be included within this tale. I took the last week of March as a vacation week from Ogilvy One to get our taxes done and organize other aspects of our journey. Harold and I had spent a lot of time sitting in silence on the sofa, looking out at our view, with Beanie between us. I'd sit on his left side and hold his hand. Sometimes he stared at me, and the depth of his eyes seemed endless. "You know I love you," he would say. "I love you too, Mr. Bear," I responded, hoping that my sincerity would or could match his, not knowing what news to expect. We had good news. According to Dr. Seifert, Harold's MRIs of March 2nd, 99, indicated that the growth of his tumor had been contained considerably. In fact, one physician thought it actually might have shrunk in size. That meant that while the tumor may continue to grow, the rate of growth would be substantially less than 10% of its mass per week, which is what it would have been if left unchecked. The temozolomide chemotherapy had indeed had a positive effect in terms of controlling the growth of Harold's glioblastoma. Did this change Dr. Seifert's prognosis of only 2 months? His response to that question was, all bets are off at this point if we can successfully adjust Harold's other medications. Of greater and more immediate concern was Harold's clinical condition, which continued to be characterized by word choice difficulties, mild disorientation, occasional confusion, and an inability to process simple action steps. Dear friends, earlier this week at breakfast in his favorite diner, Harold began eating French fries with his knife. Last Friday in Dr. Seifert's office, he was neither able to tell the doctor his name, the name of our dog, or remember my name. When Dr. Seifert wrote a command asking him to please touch his nose with his left hand, he read it and promptly took off his hat. Harold read a second written command asking him to give Dr. Seifert the scarf he was wearing, and then dropped the piece of paper on the floor in front of his wheelchair. According to Dr. Seifert, all of this is a function of Harold's treatment, not his tumor. He's now living on what he and I always referred to as Planet Julia. New anticonvulsant medications have been recently introduced. Another anticonvulsant, Gabatril, was begun recently, and Neurontin was discontinued. Depakote has been reduced to 2,000 milligrams per day. Harold's condition could be a sensitivity to the Topamax, which he began 3 weeks ago, so that that is now being reduced in dosage. Blood tests continue to show a platelet count of less than 100, postponing Harold's next 5-day round of temozolomide. It won't be administered until the natural production of platelets resumes. This morning's blood work showed a count of 61 platelets. This now presents a greater issue than ever before. Should his medications not be successfully adjusted to a level that regains a fuller awareness and comprehension, no one sees any point in administering a second transfusion. Hospice services were initiated through Cabrini Hospice as of yesterday. Edward Rivera, registered nurse, and Henriette Cohen, MSW, both assessed us. Ms. Cohen was a 1969 graduate of the University of Wisconsin in Madison, which is my alma mater. Tony D'Angelo, Harold's physical therapist, is continuing 3 times a week to maintain what strength Harold has left, and a phlebotomist has been arranged to visit every Thursday to take blood as requested by Dr. Seifert. For the next 5 days, Harold will have a healthcare attendant staying with him for 10 hours a night to assist him in getting to and from the commode chair. He's been told to expect both a music and art therapist in the coming weeks. Everyone has commented on his attitude being wonderfully positive, but then he's been surrounded by so much love. Incontinence persists, and I've begun taking Harold to the bathroom every 2 hours, whether he says he needs to or not. Laundry runs to the basement have become a part of my daily routine, and the bank tellers are prepared in advance for my request of 2 rolls of quarters, please. I did 5 loads today. I don't mean to disparage recent remarks made by a few of our friends, but I do not believe there's any heroic dynamic in my caretaking of Harold that would imply a singular effort. While it is inevitable, the end of my personal journey with Harold, the most amazing aspect of all of this to me has been that it's been a journey we've taken with each of you, dear friends, every step of the way. He has reminded me that we are surrounded by so much. Our mail is filled with notes of support, love, and caring. Love has always been at the center of the life he and I have shared for almost 15 years, and through that love, we will all have grown by having accompanied Harold throughout his last 11 months. Always, with love, JLH. At the end of March, Harold and I celebrated, if you want to call it that, our first anniversary with his GBM. 12 months, but to be honest, we're not counting. We're just taking one day at a time. Beginning of April. Dear friends, sadly, Dr. Seifert confirmed on our anniversary week that because of the delay caused by the lack of platelet production by Harold's bone marrow, he is now ineligible to continue the temozolomide protocol. Since Harold does not wish to begin a third type of chemotherapy protocol, the objective now is simply to control seizure activity and keep him as comfortable as possible. The doctor explained that there is a real possibility the FDA will approve temozolomide as a prescription drug sometime in April, which would make it available to Harold on a daily, albeit smaller, dose basis. Hopefully, the growth of the tumor can be controlled. Another major change has taken place, and that is that another major change has taken place that has enabled Harold and me to get longer stretches of sleep during the evening. Dr. Seifert has discontinued Harold's use of hydrochlorothiazide, a diuretic to reduce swelling in his hands and feet, and replaced it with Lasix. Hallelujah. We're not rushing to the bathroom as frequently as before. With Harold's approval, the hospice visiting nurse has ordered a hospital bed, an egg crate foam pad, and a portable bed table to be moved into our bedroom tomorrow. These will also allow him to sleep better and longer because his head and knee sections can be elevated and his kidneys won't be processing as much fluid as they do when he's lying in a prone position. It will also provide greater comfort while he's watching television. On Thursday, April 1st, the first anniversary of Harold's first seizure, we toasted the 12 months at a Seder that Alan and Harold's childhood friend, Barbara Sakharov, prepared and brought into our home. Harold's mom, June, joined us, as did Lily, Barbara's 8.5-year-old daughter and Harold's goddaughter. She thought it was the most fun Seder ever. We did laugh a lot. April 1st was also the beginning of my 12-week FMLA, or Family Medical Leave Act, absence from Ogilvy One worldwide. It has become clear that the correct place for me at this time is with Harold. For a long time, the office was the kind of distraction for me, with work becoming more than a little aggravating. My exceptionally wonderful boss left for another position, and I found myself reporting to a new president of North America. My having to deal with self-aggrandizing advertising executives with questioning management skills needed more attention than I'm able to give on a part-time basis. The Ogilvy One company expects me back following the July 4th holiday weekend, and they've also assured me that should I need more time, I shouldn't worry. My options are to be kept open and my job will remain certain. I joined the YMCA on West 63rd Street and have begun going almost daily to stretch, swim, and sauna, a meager attempt to deal with my weight gain and awful diet, both of which have got to be modified. We are fortunate to have both Anna Garcia, who comes in the morning to take care of Harold on Monday through Friday, and Michael Green, a hospice care attendant who takes over in the afternoon. This allows me to get to the Y, do shopping and laundry, drop off and pick up dry cleaning, attend to my doggy daddy duties, and take the occasional nap. We're also doing our best to maintain Harold's social calendar. Our friend Jeffrey Goldberg, an assistant conductor at the Metropolitan Opera who lives in our building, arranged passes to the rehearsal of Handel's Giulio Cesare, starring Jennifer Larimore, David Daniels, and Sylvia McNair. 2 seats on the aisle. We saw friends during the intermission and afterward. Also, there were no bathroom emergencies It was pretty wonderful. As you can imagine, Harold greatly enjoys getting out of the apartment in his wheelchair or his Harley. Central Park is blooming gloriously, and he loves introducing Michael Green to his favorite byways and gardens in the afternoons, weather permitting. We have my birthday dinner to attend this Friday night and an ultra chic Upper East Side gay bar restaurant that we're both looking forward to. This place is a favorite of James Levine, so Harold is hopeful of seeing the maestro. Friends are encouraged to visit any time, but it's always a good idea to call first to confirm that Harold will be receiving guests, that there will always be an attendant with Harold to handle any emergencies, so no one should feel anxious about having to provide professional care during a visit. It has indeed been a full year of fabulous food, loving friends, and supportive family. With much love, always, JLH. And that concludes this podcast. Please check in next week for episode 26, the end of April 1999, which will bring us into our final month of Harold's life. Our journey ends. All things must end, another universal truth of which to be aware. As always, thank you for your time and interest. Until next week, then, be kind, do good, be happy, and love one another, remembering to coexist with tolerance while embracing similarities and respecting differences. Thank you.